let's go ahead and open this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. First item on our agenda is the citizens' general discussion. Is there anybody here who has any general comments that they would like to make? If you wish to speak on a specific item that's on the agenda, it would be more appropriate to make those comments there. But if you have any, just anything in general, would anybody care to speak? All right, I'll go ahead and close the general discussion. First up is to consider approval of the July 17 minutes. Commissioners?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the July 2024 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Moving on. Case number RZ2024-010. Applicant Ishmael Calvillo is requesting a rezone of property located at 1125 Alexander Road, being parcel R17553, acres 1.380, A0196 Dupuy, John B. and House of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from R1, single-family residential, to R2, 1 and 2 family residential district. Mr. Killen, what do you got for us?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. First, just want to, I know you all met Wendy Rengel. She's our new permit or planning coordinator. And so we're happy to have her. J.C. Wood's been helping us out a lot kind of in this transition process. So I want to thank her for being here tonight. And then Officer Hunt is here for us, so thank you, Officer Hunt. So welcome addition to the team, and we're glad to have her, so thank you for that. We're going to share. This is this application is for the property, as you mentioned, 1125 Alexander. It is the applicant is wishing to rezone this property to R2 to allow the construction of duplexes. A duplex under R2 zoning requires 7,500 square foot minimum lot dimension. And so we don't have a site plan on that. We just know that the limitation would be based on the number of 7,500 square foot lots they can get into that project. Of course, there would be access to take in consideration. If you look at the configuration of the lot, they will be coming off of 914, which is state highway, so they'll have to have a driveway application approved through TxDOT. They'll have to have access into those interior lots, and each lot has to have at least 40-foot frontage to a public street. So those are all things that will be considered. And then also detention would be an issue that would have to be accommodated, as well as parking for the structures. So the 7,500 is the maximum density, whatever that number would come out to, but it's going to be, that's the raw number. It'd be much less once we see the site plan. One other thing to mention is, as you might have noticed with the water and sewer utility map, there is not water or sewer service to this property. I'm assuming they're working on a well and an on-site sewage system. And so providing utilities to that, I believe they could probably just extend the water utilities down 914 to the property at whatever cost that would be, and they may have to tunnel through or under 914 to get to the water supply. The other issue would be the sewer connectivity, and I did check with Public Works, and we believe that the lines are deep enough, and we believe the topography would allow the fall for the sewer, but it would likely require, well, it will require an easement from an adjacent property owner, whatever direction they go to. They are going to have an easement to allow that extension over to their property. So that would be the responsibility of the property owner to obtain that easement, and that would be part of the decision process on how this would develop. They haven't had any of those discussions with us. They just went straight to requesting the rezone, and I don't know if they are here tonight. I've never met them, but I don't see anyone in the audience that I think might be them. So with that, Madam Chair, I'd be glad to answer any questions, and I believe we have some speakers, some folks that may want to speak. One last thing, we did have 4 oppositions submitted by email, and I believe that's everything I needed to share.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any questions for Steve? All right, we're going to go ahead and, assuming that the applicant is not here, We're going to open a public hearing. Is anybody here who wishes to speak in favor of this rezone request?
I live at 104 Beach, so I have direct,
Okay.
if you look at the map, I'm
Do,
the house in the middle.
okay, do you want to speak in favor
Um,
or against, or
I'm
you're
not
somewhere
really,
in the
I
middle?
mean, I'm not, first of all, my
All right.
name's Jason.
Please state your name and address,
Uh,
and you have 3 minutes.
Jason Cochran. Like I said, I am the owner of 104 Beach Drive with my wife Sandra. I'm going to say, obviously, grew up in Stephenville, not opposed to development. I do have some concerns, obviously, when these individuals bought this property, I want to say probably late 2020, they did request to have it rezoned for multifamily and wanted to build townhomes. I learned a little bit from that Zoom planning commission, so some of that does, I mean, obviously, they were talking about spot zoning again. Having multifamily in the middle of everything being single family, we bought that house in that neighborhood specifically so we could raise our kids in what we thought was gonna be a quiet. I'm not worried necessarily about safety, it's mostly noise and traffic, because I can tell you now, even after TxDOT changed moved the speed limit sign further south on 914, that property sits right at the crest of that hill across from whatever that development on the west side, and people still come over that hill at, 65, 70 miles an hour, and while it's not going to affect me, I do have a concern that, there's a high potential for somebody pulling in and out of that and having a significant accident, probably getting somebody killed. Just because, again, I go in and we go in and out of that, ours on Beach, and we've got 400, 500 yards of visibility, and you can look, be clear, start rolling forward, looking clear, and there's a truck there, so, I mean, that's a concern. Water access, I mean, not water access, but water runoff, obviously, that part of the town's kind of weird which way water flows. You would think it all flow north and east because of where the river is, but I can tell you that I've had 5 inches of water standing in my backyard during heavy rains. It doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. Developing that property, I'd just be concerned about how that would affect my property. Like I said, the sewer, like Mr. Killian talked about, I believe that the main sewer access for Beach is in my front yard, so, I do have concerns about, how that would affect, and that's not necessarily y'all's, because that'd be the developer's concern, but that's, that. And then the other thing is obviously, noise. I mean, I don't think I would be naive in saying if somebody builds 6 duplexes, well, everybody wants to think it's gonna be for young families, it's most likely gonna end up being Tarleton kids, or students, excuse me. I have a Tarleton student, and, that's noise is an issue, as it is being, we get enough noise being that close to the loop with, vehicle traffic. I would prefer not to have, 24 college students living across the fence from me, because like I said, that is a shared property line for me, so. Like I said, I mean, I'm not against, like I said, I made a comment to one of my neighbors that if they'd come in and wanted to replate that and build 3 single-family homes, I'd probably be all for it, because I know that we need housing in Stephenville. But going multifamily, well, not multifamily, but the duplex route, not opposed to it. I would, prefer, not to have 10 units crammed into that little lot back there. Obviously, Mr. Killian did kind of answer some questions about, obviously, minimum requirements. It does not, net that. But, again, like I said, I'm not going to say I'm for or against. I would like to, really would wish that we would have the developer here to give us the information to answer our questions. Because, again, I do want to see Steveville keep growing, but I also want to make sure that, I maintain, hopefully the standard of living that I chose when I moved into that neighborhood.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here who wishes to speak for or against? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, we need a motion, and I'm going to note that Brian Leslie lives in that area, so he has recused himself.
I move that we send this to council with a recommendation that they deny the rezone request.
Second.
Okay. It was Nick for second. Do we need to discuss?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
The lot dimensions, how many do you think they would be able to get in there?
Well, I mean, I haven't done the calculation on it,
Okay.
but it's the square footage divided by
Right, I didn't know.
7,500 minus all of the parking and the detention and access in. There's probably going to have to be a public street built to access the lots on the interior. I haven't seen a site plan, so I can't really put a number to it. all those things would be taken into consideration when we actually have a site plan for us.
I don't know if there's like a rough estimate, just off the top.
It's-
But no,
I believe it's.
Just on raw footage, 6.6 of the 7,500, so you're probably looking at 5,
Okay.
I have a question.
just
So,
a guess.
does the neighbor have to approve an easement for the sewage? Did I understand that correctly?
That's correct.
And if their neighbor said, no, I don't want you to do this, would that
Yeah,
kill this?
we can't go across their property without an easement unless
So-
we use that term that no one likes to even say publicly, eminent domain, so.
All right. We're gonna do this as a group, and if it gets confusing, then we'll do a roll call. All those in favor of recommending to council denial of this rezone request, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so this is going to go to council with a recommendation to deny. All right.
Madam Chair, the next case, I don't believe the applicant is here. Would you be willing to move Mr. Canute up?
Certainly, but the next, okay, so, yes, sorry, I'm looking, I was.
525
Yep,
Collins.
my
maybe
eyes
not.
were on the
There's
wrong
not a
one.
representative here.
Yeah,
As
so
of yet.
we will, we'll put case 3 on hold. Case 4 was pulled, and we'll move on to case number 5, or number 5 on the agenda, which is case number FP 2023-002. Applicant Taylor Canute, representing Harbin Street LLC, is requesting approval of a final plat of the property located at 0 Harbin, parcel R73763 of S6200 South Side Edition, Block 19, Lot 15 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioners, the Planning and Zone Commission convened on May 19, 2021, and by a vote of 5-1, recommended the City Council approve the rezoning request. City Council approved that request on June 1st, 2021. You might recall that Mr. Canute has been back on this project and provided an update, and he will have another update for us this evening. We've experienced some delays with the project related to the sewer line and the railroad easement, and so that was part of the deal. As far as the delay, and then Mr. Canute and one of his partners, I believe there were some issues that Mr. Canute had to work through. And so he is back on track. They are making some pretty quick progress now. They have put up they have established an escrow account, and they have a large portion of their public improvements in, but they are going vertical, and they're allowed to go vertical with a building permit because they have escrowed funds for the remaining public improvements in case the question is out there by anyone. So Mr. Canute and has submitted the final plat. We've reviewed the plat. We're recommending approval of the final plat with conditions, and we have the 4 conditions listed there. If you would like me to go through those, they're pretty self-explanatory. And as I look at these 4, I believe the 4th item, correct the plat title, block and lot discrepancies. I believe that's already been done. And so, in essence, you will, if the commission approves this with conditions, as soon as we verify that those 4 conditions are met, the plat's approved and then ready for being recorded at the county. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Steve?
Just more general kind of MO here. So once they file this plat as final, that definitely forms a homeowners association within the project. It can't go back after that.
They have to have a homeowners association because of the common area within the
Awesome.
development. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Other questions? Mr. Canute is here tonight. Do you wish to speak? Sure. So this would just be regarding the final plat, and I know your next step is to talk about the update. So anything specifically about the final plat?
Not necessarily. We are, to my knowledge, the only public improvement left to finish is actually paving the road. All of the concrete flat work is done as of a few days ago. Steve said, we are going vertical with that first building. As soon as our plat and everything is fully approved and recorded, we'll be hopefully going vertical with another building out there. And this kind of plays into the update as well. But so from a public improvement standpoint, we're 98.5% there. And we do have the escrow agreement all in place. And I think that's really it for public improvements.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Canute regarding the plat? All right, I'm going to go ahead and open a public hearing. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak in favor or against this plat? I close the public hearing. Commissioners, I need a motion, and this is approval at our level, not at the city council.
I move, oh, go ahead.
You can get it.
I make a motion that we approve Mr. Canute's final plat
With
the conditions set forth by Steve.
Second.
second was, all those in favor of approving the final plat with conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Next up, we've got case number PD 2021-001, an update. Applicant Taylor Canute of Harbin Street LLC, pursuant to the requirements set forth by section 154.08 of the City of Stephenville zoning ordinance, is presenting an update and requesting an extension of the development schedule of the planned development located at 0 South Harbin Drive, parcel R73763 of Southside Edition, block 19, lot 15, PTOF of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. Mr. Killen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No additional comments other than the previous update was presented to the commission on August 1st, 2023, or around that time frame, and then ordinance was drafted to update the PD for this project. So again, Mr. Canute has an update for us tonight. And Jeff, if you can get to page 51, there's an email from Malcolm Canute. I believe Taylor's going to share the key points in there, which most importantly, I believe, is that the project is intended to be completed by the first quarter of 2025. So I stole your thunder, but anything additional to add?
Thank
Uh,
you.
I
Give me-
did not write that
Give me
email.
1 second,
so,
then we'll,
yeah.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Steve?
I'm just excited to see it moving forward. Thanks, Steve.
Mr. Canute, go ahead.
Well, I echo that. We're obviously very excited to finally have a structure going up out there. The main cause of the delay, we had an individual who was an owner in the original our development entity that owned the project, passed away in December of 22. There's been a number of things to sort out since then, things outside of our control, but we've done everything inside of our control to get the project moving back forward. We lost well over a full calendar year without anything happening over there. Since we have sorted that out, we've done our best to double time getting everything done from an improvement standpoint, as well as start construction on multiple buildings out there. There's been a tremendous interest from the public. We have several units sold. As you all know, these are build to sell units, so we're excited to be moving forward again. And Malcolm wrote that email saying first quarter of 25. I would be ecstatic if we can hit that. That might be a little lofty given that it's August, but I fully intend to be completed and out of all 48 of those townhomes within 12 months from today. So,
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Thank you. Appreciate it. We don't need to vote, do we?
Yes,
Do we need to
this-
approve the update?
I would prefer that
Okay.
we do.
Just
Okay.
in case.
Recommendation to council, because it does go to council
Okay.
for revision to the ordinance.
Okay, then we're going to go ahead and open a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak regarding this update? All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. So commissioners, we need a motion to recommend to council on whether to approve this update.
I recommend the city council we approve the modified development schedule of case number P02021-001.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of recommending to council approval of this updated schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. So we need to return to number 3 on our item list. Applicant Troy Kunkel, owner of Iron Fund LLC, and Representative Reese Flanagan with Flanagan Land Solutions, are requesting an approval of a final plat of property located at 525 Collins, parcel R33237 of S5700 Shepherd and Collins, Block 6, Lot 1 and 2 of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. The Planning and Zoning Commission on October 20th, 2021 approved the rezone to planned development, or recommended approval, and then on November 2nd, 2021, the City Council approved the rezone from industrial to planned development by ordinance 2021-038. They have submitted a final plat. We've reviewed the final plat, and we are recommending that the commission approve the final plat with the 15 conditions listed on the staff report. If you have any questions related to those conditions, I'll be glad to try to address those. Otherwise, ma'am, that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any questions for Steve on those? All right, it sounds, the applicant is not here,
I do
correct?
not see them here.
Okay. Go ahead and open a public hearing. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak in favor or against this final plat? Close the public hearing, commissioners.
Make a motion to approve FP 2024-002 with conditions.
Second.
All those in favor of approving this final plat, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, made it easy. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done. Thank you so much for attending tonight. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So seconded.
Thank you, everyone.